Broadcasting live from the Vegas Video Network studios, just steps from the Las Vegas Strip, it's Talktails with Chris Phillips. Coming up on today's show, singer-songwriter Frankie Moreno. And now I can name that host in 3 syllables, Mr. Chris Phillips.
See what happens when you don't have a real job? You do this. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We are so happy to have you join us live here from Las Vegas. Once again, you are watching the wildly successful new program every Monday afternoon called Talktails. Oh, yes, exciting. You know, we were in a distant second place up until Oprah quit, and now we are the most viewed show in the nation every afternoon. And so we are so happy to have you here on the Vegas Video Network. My gosh, this has been such an interesting couple of weeks for me. As you know, Scott, life has changed for me. I used to be a bum during the weekdays. I've literally worked weekends for upwards to 27 years until last week. And now I actually have responsibility and structure in my life. And
we working men have missed you. Thanks for coming to us, coming to our side.
Yes, well, my God. It's like I feel like I'm back in high school. Well, like I went to high school. But yeah, we're on week 2 of me being the new host of Name That Tune here at the Imperial Palace on the Las Vegas Strip. And today I can say we gave away $10,000.
Really?
Wow. What? Yeah, because I fixed the whole thing. It was a friend of mine. He said he'd get me liquored up after the show, and instead I forgot I had to come here.
I got the producers on the phone here. Yes, he's fired. No, it was a joke. Okay.
But yes, we're having a blast. It's going very well, but it has severely cut into my weekday partying, Scott. But I was afraid that I was going to have to stay in, but my girlfriend, Tiffany, and I have figured out instead of coming home at 5 or 6 in the morning, we just come home at 3 or 4. So, you know, it's a little hard on us, but we're working it out. But folks, again, we couldn't be more happy to have you join us here on our little show we do where we get to have a couple cocktails and sit down and speak with some of the people who make this the greatest city in the world, and without question, the entertainment capital of the world. And my guest today is certainly a shining example of why people come to Las Vegas. He embodies the spirit of entertainment. He is a singer. He is a songwriter. He is an incredible piano player. He plays all kind of it. He's like a Wayne Newton of today. He plays everything. And he's just about to explode. He's been on the scene here in Las Vegas for many years. Anybody who lives in Las Vegas certainly knows his name. He's synonymous with our city. But now he's about to go big time on us. He's got himself wrapped up in some big deals, which we're actually going to be talking about today and anxious to hear about. You can see him certainly every Tuesday where I hang out at the Palms, where me and Gordy Brown and some others hang out in there and see our friend do his thing at the Palms. He can also be seen at the Ravello Lounge out at the M, among many other places, while we still have him, that is. We have Mr. Big Time and very handsome, dear friend of mine, Frankie Moreno's in the house tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Good on, buddy. All right.
We couldn't be more proud to have you. I've been trying to get you for weeks. And
I know.
Too important to join my little rinky-dink thing here. And thank God
I've been wanting. The phones have been ringing to do the show, and I just been sleeping a lot. And
yeah, well, you are certainly one of the busiest people in town now. I know that
crazy.
You've certainly been working here for years doing your thing, but just as of recently, things have become very interesting for you.
Well, I was doing 5 nights a week, every night in this town since I moved here 10 years ago. Moved here and started playing right out of the gates. First week I moved here, I started working.
That's unheard of.
From the Stratosphere to the Riviera to the House of Blues.
There's a lot of entertainers that'd be very jealous of what you're saying here.
For the whole time, though, it was crazy. It was like just 5 nights a week, sometimes double shifts, and it was great. And even when things were slow, for some reason, always working. It was just lucky. And I thought that I was so busy. Now, we're not playing nearly as much, and I am just way more busy with this record thing we're trying to do, and it's crazy, man.
Well, you're having to streamline it to some degree because you're not just a 3 or 4 piece combo thing that used
Not
to play in the
anymore,
lounge
yeah.
at Golden Eye. You're a full scale show with horns and the string section, and
We added strings.
it's unbelievable.
I mean, it's all arrangements, and instead of doing 3 sets of music each night, we're doing
Right.
a show.
Well, and
One
it's
set.
an amazing show. For those of you who aren't familiar with Frankie, I guess the best way I
Do I
could.
just help myself here?
You know what? I was going to be.
I'll wait.
I was going to be so disappointed if you weren't going to drink with me. Are
I
you
just
kidding?
didn't know if I'm supposed to do this or if you're supposed to pour it for me. How does this work? You're the host.
Dive in. We don't have waitresses here, Frankie. I'm so sorry. You have to help yourself.
It's real.
Yes, it's real. Unlike most of the things in this town.
I hate to take the last of your.
No, no. Go ahead and finish off the extra rare. I'll just stick with the cheap stuff over here, I guess. Would you like some Diet Coke? Because
Yes.
I put a little of that in there
Go
just to
ahead.
pretend I'm not the alcoholic that I am,
That's good.
just to color it up a little bit.
Salute, Las Vegas.
It's you may or may not know this. I always claim that the first show I ever saw in Las Vegas was the Shintas, and that inspired me to come here. That is not true.
That's not true.
I lied. I've been lying for 5
Green
years.
Valley Ranch.
The very first show I ever saw was Frankie Moreno Band at Green Valley Ranch.
We played together.
We played together, and then
I opened for you. Oh, I forget it was a corporate or
Oh,
something.
I
right?
like the way you put that. No, you didn't open for me.
Well, we went.
I think we went on and everybody left, I think is what happened. But yeah, that was the first
Yeah.
experience I've had seeing live music in Vegas, and it was you guys, and I was blown away then.
Oh, I didn't know what we were doing then. We were
Well,
just drinking.
do any of us ever?
doing our thing,
As we still are, I hope.
Yeah.
But for those of you who don't know Frankie, he's kind of I don't know how to explain it, a rock and roll, edgy, hip version of a Harry Connick Jr. in that vein of piano playing, songwriting, all-encompassing,
Yeah.
big band horn sound, good-looking, I get the chicks kind of guy. How's that?
That's a good description.
You were born in Santa Cruz,
Santa Cruz.
California. I know that you were influenced by I think your father and your uncle, who were musicians and
They
bands.
played in the band. They had a local band that they played all over the Bay Area there. And
Wow.
that's hot. What's going on? Am I supposed to not?
Well, I'll tell you, that's the most action I've had in 2 weeks right there.
No,
yeah.
they played all over town, and my dad used to have me come play with his. I was one of those little freak kids, really young that could play Mozart.
This is what disturbs me about you most, is that's like my friend Frankie Shinta.
Yeah.
From the time he was a kid, he could hear music
Yeah.
and directly go to the piano and just start playing it. What kind of
It's just-
prodigy
it's-
craziness is that?
I guess it's just it's just there sometimes. And like with us, we had a piano in the house. Nobody played piano, and I'd hear them rehearsing all the time and go in and hear the songs and play them. My dad was real big into like the oldies, like the Elvis Presley, and
Sure,
the Ray Charles, Jerry Lee Lewis. So hearing Ray Charles, Jerry Lee Lewis, and all that kind of stuff, like,
Wow, that's obviously very influential because that
Big time.
you obviously in your original music have
Yeah.
that type of a sound.
yeah, I
which
love that. It's just, I mean, like, I miss a lot of the elements, like, as time goes by in general, people learn from other musicians. That's how we play music. You hear someone you like, you're inspired, and you take something of theirs and you add something of your own, and then someone else takes something of theirs and adds something of their own. But a lot of that stuff, like the Ray Charles and all that stuff, like people took the vibe and the sound, but they're missing like the main ingredients, which is the feel of the music.
Sure.
So a lot of modern music today, not a lot, but there is a lot of stuff you hear on the radio that just it misses the feel.
It's lacking soul.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you were bringing that back, my friend, and in a big way and in a very
Thank you.
heartfelt way.
Thank you.
You could tell that you genuinely feel the music that you're playing, and the audiences
Yeah.
are responding accordingly. They're eating it up.
Yeah, it's just, I just think you can't like, it's like telling a story. A song is a story. I lived in Nashville for a while, so it got real big into like country music and stuff. Just
Really?
the lyrics of it, like how everything is like, it's talking to people. So when you're talking to people, like if you're just saying something like you're reading, who
Right,
cares?
right,
But if you're actually listening and you're telling something that you believe in, it's interesting. So it's like with music, it's the same thing. And a lot of times, just radio music that you hear, they produce it perfectly and everything, but it just misses some of the sloppiness sometimes that's in a record, like in those old records. It's kind of cool.
Absolutely. That creates the swagger to the sound, so to speak, is
Yeah.
kind of the space between notes sometimes, and
Yeah.
kind of like Count Basie in the sense that
Yeah.
it wasn't the music or the notes he played, it's the music notes he didn't play.
Exactly.
And with you possess such.
I don't play loud notes, especially after drinking. I just don't play it on.
Well, you know, it's amazing to watch you because you're obviously not only just talented, but I could tell music is in your soul. You transition from singing to having off-the-cuff witty remarks to playing piano to playing you just go back and forth, and it's so effortless.
You know what
it's
that
such
is,
a joy
though?
to watch you perform.
I think that just comes from, and I got to think, you know, California, growing up there, for just being around a creative environment. Everyone in Santa Cruz, where I'm from, is a painter, a poet,
Sure.
Artist, something, you know. So having that influence, then moving to Nashville, where it's the best of the best musicians. You know, the musicians
Sure.
are just insane out there. That was like college for me. Like,
Kind of like got to fine-tune your craft. So to speak.
yeah, but then coming here, I mean, and you know how it is, man. In this town, getting people to come to a show and stuff. I mean, next door there's tigers, there's naked girls, there's alcohol, there's money, it's everything. Who wants to sit down and listen to somebody's song? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
It's hard.
It's very hard, particularly in Las Vegas, to break out with your own original music.
Yeah.
And I would be hard-pressed to say that I don't think I can even think of another act that performs live music, or their own original live music, at all. I think you're it.
There's some, but it's mostly, unfortunately, man, it's in the little dive bars and the places that don't want to pay and anything. You know, 'cause
Sure.
the casinos want the cover stuff, and because that's what people
That's
are familiar
understandable,
with.
of course, sure. And it's all about revenue per
Yeah,
square
yeah, yeah.
foot in this town.
And that definitely draws in people. The weird situation we've had is we've played here so long, and I was doing original music. You know, these places having their contracts don't do originals, do covers. So I go, here's a new Matchbox 20 song, and it's one of mine. You know,
Right.
Here's the, here's the new Maroon 5, and it's ours. And people go, I like that song, and I go, oh yeah, well we wrote it, and we started building a fan base because of that.
Which
So
you
the
have a
casinos
tremendously big fan base.
It's been
Unbelievable.
crazy. It's been crazy. But playing the 5 nights a week in Vegas, getting back to kind of like the whole random free talking on stage stuff, is just, I think we would get so bored. Because we were doing like, you know, you go out there and you do a show and stuff like that. We were doing like 3 sets, 4 sets every night. And so we would just get bored. Like, even playing original music, we're playing our own original music every night. And we're going like, we have to entertain ourselves. So every night we had to make it different. We had to be like, let's do something totally different and make each other laugh. So now that we're just doing the one show kind of thing, bringing that into the show, every night is totally different.
Well, that's what separates you from a lot of the entertainers in town. You've really developed your off-the-cuff entertainer chops.
That's just from
that
10
comes
years
from
of doing it, you know?
hour after hour after
Yeah.
night after day after month of doing that.
Of everything going, you have to have everything always going wrong. So you learn. You learn how to
Yes.
fix it, how to deal with it. You know, so the grand piano falls off the stage. You have to have that happen to know if it happens again, this is how you can laugh.
Well, obviously, this isn't your first rodeo. If I understand correctly, you've been performing. It actually appeared on TV since when you were 11.
I did Star Search when I was 10 years
Oh,
old.
you did? I did not know that. Wow.
Did that. I did. God.
How'd that go?
Not very well.
Well, it's a horrible memory. I didn't mean to bring it up. Wow.
it jump-started my whole thing, man.
Did it
I mean,
really?
I was one of these little kids. By the time I was 7, I could play piano very well. My parents were awesome, giving me, you know, like, hey, if you want to do lessons, if you want to stop lessons, whatever you want to do, we'll support it. And I just wanted to learn. So I just excelled real fast. And we sent in tapes to Star Search going like, well, this would be a great catapult, you know, to get.
What did you do on Star Search?
Well, I sent in a video of me playing Mozart, you know.
That always gets the
8
chicks.
years old or whatever
That's
like
cool.
that. And they're like, this is great, but we don't have a category for this. So then I sent in a thing of boogie woogie piano playing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this is great, but we don't have a category. He's got to sing. Let's take vocal lessons. So I took vocal lessons, took a quick video of myself singing Great Balls of Fire. It was the only song I knew how to sing.
So you're telling me that Ed McMahon and his show had something to do with why you became a singer?
Yeah, that's the only reason I learned how to sing.
Oh, that's incredible.
And then
Really.
once I did that, we started getting calls all over the country. I mean, because it's, you know, national TV.
Wow.
Instantly it's just like, I mean, Star Search at the time was like American Idol now.
Of course.
And there wasn't, it's not like American Idol, America's Got Talent, you know, so you can think of, there's all these shows now, like, that was it.
That and the Gong Show.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it was like, it was the only like legitimate like catapult for someone like me at that age, and just started working like crazy, got into acting and all that kind of stuff. And, but I knew how to play piano. I could do anything on the piano, but had no idea lyrics of songs, how to sing.
That's amazing.
So I started watching Elvis Presley movies and going like, that's what I want to do. I want to do that.
Well, you not only possess kind of his spirit, but you know, quite obviously, you look like Elvis to some degree. That must help with
my dad was like the biggest
following
Elvis.
that you have, which is
Actually,
primarily female.
It was hard, man. Because of that, though, like because growing up and listening to that, my music was so influenced by that. Just because it's all I knew. You know, even though I'm in high school and everyone else is listening to Pantera, I'd go home and Elvis was on a radio at home. So I had to like actually intentionally try to not sound like that. You know what I mean? Because it's just what I grew up with. You know?
So did I. Exactly the same thing. And
you have to kind of get away, you know. And because I look the dark hair. I mean, not right now, but you know, I had the dark hair and always wearing suits and stuff like that. And move while I sing. It's like people would go, "Oh, you remind me of Elvis." Well, that's cool.
That's cool, man.
But at the same time, like when you're signing a record deal, they're like, "Well, you know, you gotta have your own thing."
Yeah.
So it was hard to like kind of like separate that and kind of push that aside, you know.
Well, we were talking about what a large following you had, and apparently some of them are actually watching us live right now. We have something called a live chat room, where people are actually chiming in as we speak with some questions. We have somebody who would love to ask you something right now, if you don't mind taking a question. Okay. Scott, what do you got over there?
Yeah, Nate wants to know what the motivation was to leave Nashville to come to Las Vegas.
Well, that's actually a good question. I moved to Nashville because I was working on a deal with a record label called Giant Records, which was Warner Brothers. 18 years old, right out of high school.
Wow.
I wanted to do Juilliard. That was like my whole thing, go to Juilliard, go to Juilliard. Mm-hmm. Got offered a record deal with Warner Brothers. I'm like, I took the record deal. Oh, so well, eventually the Juilliard thing has to turn into
but you know, the people anyway. Thousands of people go to Juilliard and never get a record deal, so you might as well move to the head of the class. What the heck?
I went to Nashville. I got the deal. We started working on a record, and at the same time I was writing for a publishing company. I was a staff songwriter. It's called a staff writer, so I have to turn in a quota of songs every month for, you know, television shows like Ally McBeal at the time, and all those were looking for songs, and here we need a song for this scene. I'd have to write all that stuff, you know.
Really?
And so
that's interesting.
The record label didn't want to use any of my songs, and which was weird because I was writing for other artists. You know what I mean? In Nashville, writing for a lot of country artists out there, and playing with big names, but I couldn't use my songs. So they're like, "Well, we can't use your songs." So I left the record label, just worked on the songwriting, and just after writing so much, I'm going like, "Well, I can write songs anywhere." And why am I staying in Nashville, you know, because I'm from the beach.
No, exactly.
And my grandparents were living in Santa Cruz still, which I was very close to. And we all decided, let's all just move to Vegas. Housing's cheap. We can all go there. And my parents, my grandparents.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah. They're gone now, but my parents are still here. And, yeah, it was just kind of a thing to get the family all out here.
Well, really. It obviously paid off for you. And you'd mentioned that you wrote for other people in other bands and performed with big names. We're going to take a short little break. When we come back, there's one name in particular that I'd like to talk about that got you some huge national exposure not too long ago, which was so exciting. Folks, we're sitting here with Frankie Moreno. My name is Chris Phillips. You're watching Talktails. We'll be right back.
This is David Ivey from Pub Crawl. It's funny because it's David from... You should just leave it on. Hi, I'm David Ivey from Pub Crawl, and you're watching the Vegas Video Network. And scene.
Well, here we are coming to you live from Las Vegas with Mr. Big Shot here, Frankie Moreno, who is taking over Las Vegas and about to go international with...
To go public.
Yes, you are. And right before we went to the break, I was talking about how you have been, well, this is so well-deserved, but also, I'm sure, you know, some would say very lucky to have met some big-time names that you've been able to work hand-in-hand with. One in particular that I'd like to talk about right off the bat. It was so exciting for me personally to be flipping through the TV channels not too long ago, just a couple months ago, and I think I came across PBS. I think it was what it was on. And there was this special with this incredible violinist, Joshua Bell. And I was intrigued by him because he was amazing, and I was sitting there watching him. And next thing I know, he introduces you, and you're sitting right next to him on the piano.
Yeah.
And you guys break into a rendition of a Beatles song, Eleanor Rigby, which I will say publicly was probably the best rendition of that song I've ever heard in my life.
Thanks, man.
Even better than the Beatles.
Wow.
How did that all come about, my friend?
He walked in. I started writing. I was on the road with some other acts as like musical director for them and stuff. Meanwhile, I was still playing the Golden Nugget, but I'd go out and I'd work with this guy Billy Currington. He was a country singer.
Yeah, you want to tour with him.
On the Sugarland tour.
Yes.
Which they were just here actually, Sugarland.
Mm-hmm.
I was with Air Supply.
Which you incidentally started writing music for them too, correct?
Yeah, I wrote their.
That's unbelievable.
I wrote their last
Oh man,
top 10 single.
that's a piece of American pop culture you're working with.
Yeah, it's
That's
awesome.
incredible.
It's awesome. Those guys are great. No, but I started writing string charts for them because they were always do these shows and perform with orchestras. So I started writing string charts. Went to Europe with my brothers. Tony and Ricky. We write all the music that my band performs, or all the originals anyway. And I went to Europe. Went to like Mozart's house, Beethoven's house.
Wow.
Got really inspired to do all this classical, which I grew up doing. And started writing all this classical music. It got to the Philharmonic out here in Vegas, People started performing it and stuff like that. One night this guy Joshua Bell's coming in, and they brought him down to the Nugget. I had no idea who he was.
Sure.
After Googling him, I found out he's
a big deal.
He's like the top classical violinist in the world. It's crazy. And he's amazing. He's amazing. So he would come in and watch us like 3 nights in a row in the Rush Lounge.
Oh, man.
He's like, man, I want you to play on my record. And at this time, I just did the Air Supply album. I was doing all these cool things. I'm like, yeah, I'll play on your record, Not realizing who it was. So, time goes by, and then I finally get a call from Sony Records saying, which was his label. It's the label he was on.
Uh-huh.
And they go, we're doing this album, and it's Joshua Bell and Friends, and we want you on it. Joshua Bell and Friends, like, who's on this record? Oh, Paul McCartney, Josh Groban, Sting, Chris Bodie.
I'm sorry, I haven't heard of any of them.
Yeah, so I'm like, I can't say on TV what I actually said, but yeah. I said,
wow,
yeah,
what an incredible honor that must have been.
So Paul McCartney ended up having to pull out last second, which was a bummer, but best thing that could ever happen to me. We ended up changing. I was doing one of my originals.
Right.
A song called Walk Away From Me I wrote. And we changed it, and we said, well, let's do the song Eleanor Rigby. Because who's recut Eleanor Rigby that everybody's familiar with? I mean, like a lot of people have recut it, but nobody's made like a splash with it.
No, not at all.
So we recut Eleanor Rigby, just piano, violin, and vocal, and made it like a kind of a fantasy, like a classical fantasy kind of piece.
It's really cool the way you
just very
retooled
different. Yeah. And we rehearsed it a couple times. I went back out on the Sugarland tour, came back to New York, cut it like on the spot, left, and Sting goes in the next day, cuts his song.
Wow.
Josh Groban cuts his song, whatever. So now I'm back out with Air Supply. I'm in Hong Kong, and I get a thing on my laptop. We're in an airport. I'll never forget it. We're all sitting in the airport on our laptops.
Right.
Email comes in from Sony. Congratulations. It just went #1 on the Billboard Classical Crossover. #1.
Oh,
so I look,
my
and
God.
like, there it is. Frankie Moreno, Joshua Bell. I ask everybody around me, you got to look. Is this real? Is someone messing with me?
Your particular track?
Yeah. The whole album hit #1, and the track hit #1.
Oh,
and the track was like the top downloaded Amazon. The Eleanor Rigby was like the top downloaded Amazon.com music something.
Well, I'm telling you, when I heard it, I was like, this is incredible.
It's great, but it was just a lot of timing and everything behind it. The Beatles Rock Band just came out, the video game.
Right. So
all their remastering. So everything was just perfect about that. And it came out, so I started doing a bunch of dates with Josh. And I did the PBS special and, hung out many times drinking with Sting. And it was great, man. What a great experience that was, And that led to so many things. That made my website go from, a few thousand people to
Well,
millions,
sure. And what's amazing about that and everything else you do is you're not just a singer and a songwriter, but you arrange, like you mentioned, string parts and such, which led. Now, did you conduct the Sydney Symphony Orchestra?
Yeah.
That's
at the Sydney Opera House.
Pretty impressive as well.
With a
my
carrot.
God. Oh my God.
I was hammered.
Of course you were.
Well, no, I walk into the room at the Sydney Opera House, and it's this, that shell building.
Mm-hmm.
And we were with Air Supply, and they wanted me to conduct because I wrote all the 32-piece, orchestral stuff for it.
And you're so young. What are you, 33, 34?
34.
Oh, my God.
And yeah, so I'm out there
disturbing.
with a carrot conducting. I'm thinking that's funny. I'm telling the guys on the side, "Are you videotaping this? This is great." You know, but
so
I don't know how
funny.
it turned out. But we did 3 nights, sold out each night, the Opera House, and it
Wow.
was great, man.
Well,
And
your
then come
parents
back
must
the next
be
night
proud.
and play the Rush Lounge.
Yeah, I know.
That's the music business, man.
Well, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, you have so many fans, and there's, as I mentioned, a couple
Yeah.
who want to get to some more questions for
Okay.
you. Scott, what's the next
Ooh, I'm
question?
nervous.
Yeah, Me Forgets asks, is Sugar High about somebody specific?
Sugar High
no,
is
that
a
is
song on
One of your original songs?
yeah, on a record I put out called Gift, which
Okay.
was the first thing that introduced me to the string section out here and everything. And we wrote that song. It's about Mozart. We called it Sugar High because we were talking about the song's about those little Mozart chocolates. You ever seen those things?
No.
You can get like at Lee's Liquor, like the Mozart liqueur and the Mozart chocolate.
Lee's Liquor.
And we were saying
Nice.
like Mozart got famous. Like here's one of the greatest composers ever, and a lot of people in my age group know of him because of the movie, the Amadeus movie, and he's got these
Sure.
chocolates and the Mozart liqueur. So we thought that was ironic, and we wrote a song about that. Yeah,
Speaking of your own original music, what's your latest release right now that you have out?
Hanging on a Maybe. It's an album called Hanging on a Maybe.
Hanging on a Maybe.
And what it is,
And what does that imply?
well, we wrote that because that's right when we were finding out about the Sony deal, and we weren't quite sure what was going on. And we were
Sounds like it has a
writing
double
music.
meaning,
Yeah,
perhaps, then.
yeah.
Sure.
And we were writing music for that record, thinking maybe this is the record that's going to go. Well, it turns out that they're taking almost all of those songs from the record. We're going to recut them, and then we've added some new stuff since. But yeah, they're letting me write the whole thing. And Hanging on the Maybe is a current album we have now, and I can't sell like my own little records like this anymore once we release this new record. I can't like sell the stuff that we just.
Well, one of my
record.
favorite songs is I'm Sorry. Where does that
Oh, yeah.
come from?
You know, everything comes from either some sort of experience that we had or we've heard, or a lot of times what I'll do is just as a writer is I'll take something like, you know, when you're happy, or for me, I don't want to sit in a dark room and write music. You know what I mean? So you normally write when you're
Sure.
sad
Sure.
or just melancholy or whatever and stuff.
course.
But like, it doesn't mean you have to write sad music. You can turn the topic around. So a lot of time we'll flip topics, like something's good, or we'll turn the whole, you know, if someone did this to you, but I'll turn it around like I did this, you know, or just something. So they're all real stuff, but they have like, you know, little twist to them, just for my own sake.
Well, we couldn't be more proud and thrilled to have you here.
Thanks, man.
We're going to take one more little
Yeah.
break, and we're going to come back and talk with you just a bit more. And I want to also ask you about not only the state of music in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
but maybe who some of the shows and entertainers you like to go see.
Absolutely.
Folks, once again, you're watching the Vegas Video Network, and if you have any comments or questions, I would love you to contact us, please, anytime by emailing us. You can go to talktails@vegasvideonetwork.com, or if you are not so inclined to have a computer, you can simply pick up the phone.
If you don't have a computer.
No,
then,
well, like me, I don't. You can call our toll-free number at 866-966-4599. I still have the rotary dial phone, by the way.
Do you?
I got to catch up a little bit.
The
We'll
cell?
Yeah.
Cell version?
A dial cell, yes. Folks, we're going to be back here with my drinking buddy, Frankie Moreno. We'll be right back. Everybody.
Hey, I'm Al, man. Is that how you get them to do that all the time? Just sit there and be an ass. Is that it? Hey, I'm Al. Hey, I'm Al Mancini at Top of the Food Chain. You are watching the Vegas Video Network. We got big forks, big spoons. I got a big mouth. I got no guests.
Well, once again, everybody, you're watching Talktails with me, Chris Phillips, and we couldn't be more happy and proud to have with us one of the more talented people in town, but somebody who I think has probably the best chance of anybody I know in Las Vegas of breaking out and becoming some
Thanks.
big-time national, international celebrity entertainer, and we're all rooting for you, my friend.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
But speaking of Las Vegas, you've
Yeah.
obviously been playing around here for years now.
Yeah.
You've probably seen some changes. in the live music scene,
Big
so to
time.
speak, particularly in the casinos. Being a music purist as you are, have you noticed, obviously, as so many of us have, the decline in live music taking places in the lounges and the clubs and things? How do you feel about that?
Well, I wonder if a lot of that has to do with just people aren't interested anymore in this town, or also the fact, just the economy's down, so a lot of the places don't want to pay.
Right.
Like in Nashville, nobody was paying anything anywhere. I was playing all over downtown Nashville, and everyone was playing for free because everybody wants to be seen.
Sure.
So even people who are pros and need to get paid and they do it for a living. Like I came in there and, that's how I make my living. But you got, the 17-year-old kid that just moved in and, I'll do it for free, So I don't know, like, because a lot of places are playing or not paying, if this was more of an original scene out here, people would still play everywhere. Like, I'll just play. But because it's not, because it's more of an entertainment thing instead of a music thing, like Las Vegas is entertainment rather than music.
Exactly.
So
Particularly with the tourists.
Oh, yeah, big time. So even with us, like, I can't just sit with an acoustic guitar and a bar stool and entertain people in this town. I mean, now, luckily, we've established people, to know what we do. And
well, I love how you expanded lately into a full-scale band.
Yeah.
You have this incredible horn section.
Yeah, they're great.
But I have to talk about the strings.
They're new.
Well, it's not only novel and amazing to have a string section, but what I found particularly intriguing is that is the hottest
They're hot.
string section I've ever seen in my life.
It's crazy.
Where did they come from? How did you find
Well,
them?
it's to make up for the rest of my band.
There you go. Especially because you got your family involved.
What happened was everyone in this town, because it's an entertainment town, you got to have a girl on stage, right? So every agent told me, you got to get a girl on stage. Girls sing, play tambourine. I mean, it's so much better because you can't draw guys into a room. I can't draw guys. And even still, like, guys just don't just come in and watch the pretty boy sing, But no, but it's I never like thought of it that way because I'm a songwriter first and foremost.
Right.
I'm just about the song. Like, I had to adapt into an entertainer by being in Vegas, like,
Creating the visual as well.
yeah. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to just get a girl to sing in the band or just a girl guitar player because I'm supposed to have a girl. So I fought it forever, just because I'm going like, I want to do something just different and more about this. Just make people not think of anything other than the song.
Of course.
That's going to distract them. I mean, if we were doing, more upbeat stuff or cover music, then yeah, it's all about the visual.
It's a different business altogether.
Yeah, but with the songwriting thing, it's like I want them to listen to my words, and if I got some pretty girl here, they're not going to listen.
Right.
And so just recently, I thought, well, I think I'm going to add strings. And I'm going, well, this might be a good opportunity to find that element. All blonde string players or something like that,
Very attractive blonde string players.
Because and they're great talents,
I know,
too.
they're incredible.
amazing. Like, if you just listen to them, they're awesome, but then you look, it's like, wow.
And that adds such a really thick new layer
Yeah.
to your original music, which is
Well,
just
it adds
beautiful.
it adds a beauty to
It
the
does.
music when we're adding all the band. The four-piece is a rock thing.
Sure.
The horns make it kind of vintage, kind of buble.
Yeah.
But the strings bring it down to like we can kind of throw in some classical aspects. And it's a three-piece string instead of having like, a couple times we've used 6 and 12.
Yep.
But
And you write those arrangements
Yeah,
for them,
yeah.
obviously.
but you write very differently.
And I'm guessing
for
in your
less
drunken
strings.
stupor at 4 o'clock in the morning is when you write the charts, correct?
Yeah. In fact, once I leave here, I'm writing all the string parts for the new songs tomorrow. Because I try to do new songs every week, because people come out and see us. We try to write something new every week. But
Wow.
yeah, I mean, like when you're writing for lots of strings
That's awesome.
and then writing for 3 strings, it's very different. It's kind of like if you have a chorus of voices, and you could go, ah, and have 10 guys doing that. It sounds nice. But if it's just you don't go ooh and ah in the background. It's weird.
Yeah, and you want those harmonies and
Yeah.
layers in there.
So with 3-piece, it's very classical kind of writing, and which I love. I love classical music. So it's
We might even have a question in the chat room pertaining to your band. Is that right, Scott?
A comment from Doug who says, you can draw me into your room anytime you'd like. Which, you're his new man crush, just so you know.
nice.
And Me Forget says, do you have a name for your horn section?
A name for the horns. It's also new. We've dabbled with some, but we actually haven't had any that stuck. So I mean, if you have some, just write them into me, and we'll call them that. It's the horny guys, I guess.
The horny guys. I was waiting for that one. Well, I'll tell you something. You know, I'm somebody who loves Vegas entertainment.
Yeah,
If it was up to me, I'd go to a show every night.
Yeah.
Certainly every Tuesday. I am now a
man.
disciple of what you're doing.
You're
at
gonna
the
sing with me
Palms.
tomorrow night.
Oh, I hope not for your sake. God, nobody wants that. I would love. Obviously, I'd be honored. But if you, on a night out,
Yeah.
night off, were to go out on the Las Vegas Strip, is there a particular show or a band or an entertainer that you would personally like to see?
Yeah,
What-
you know, it's
What fascinates you?
I haven't had the opportunity to see a lot. I love original music, obviously.
Good luck finding it in this town,
That's
right?
the thing. So there really isn't. You have to go to the more of the dive bar kind of places, and that's cool. And sometimes you get some great acts in there. But as far as the show, I haven't had a lot of opportunity to go out because we were working so much. And even now, I'm not working every single night. I'm writing charts and stuff. But some great shows, like we just saw a lot of my horn players play in this Vegas the show.
Oh, of course.
Great
Produced by
show.
David Sachs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great
Just saw
show.
that for the first time. And
It's rare to see a full-scale big band or orchestra in any kind of show, and so
Yeah.
you know that's a show that's kind of keeping the spirit of Las Vegas
Yeah.
alive, certainly. And they're
Yeah, I was
I know your
surprised.
horn guys. They actually some of them play with my vintage show
Yeah,
too as
yeah,
well, and
yeah.
you got some very talented guys
Yeah,
up there.
they're
But
good
yeah,
guys.
that's a good example. Of
That's a
something.
good show. I mean, like, I like magic stuff. You know, I've always.
Do you?
I was a big David Copperfield fan growing up, so you know clearly,
Right.
Copperfield. Yeah, I mean, like, typically I just like to hear live bands. You know, I mean, I'm more about a live band than a show
Yes,
per se.
right. Me too.
And a lot of that's just because I haven't had a chance. Santa Fe, you know, over at the Palms on Monday night.
Well, that's incredible. Some of the most incredible musicians in
Yeah.
the country come together on a Monday night and just an all-out jam, and that's very successful.
That's I mean, that's crazy. As far as musicians
Oh
go,
man, that's the cream of the crop in that thing.
Zoe Bowie.
And how many times did Frankie Moreno come to a Zoe Bowie show?
I saw you at the M.
Because you were there playing.
Well, you only play weekends, and so do I.
I
That's
know.
the
I'm
hard
just
part.
kidding. No, that's awesome.
Well, I'm going to see you sing on Tuesday.
Oh well, I'm gonna have to be
You know,
plenty
that might
liquored
be a
up to
good
get up there
question.
with
What
you.
do people want to hear you sing? Something like a big bandy with us, or something funky? That's a good question to ask your viewers. What should you sing with me on Tuesday night?
Now I'm under
Are
pressure.
we waiting for a reply?
Well, you know, we have somebody in the live chat room. Maybe they have
An idea?
Yes.
yeah.
Frankie, they want to know, what's the wildest thing you've ever received from a fan?
Besides something you had to get penicillin for.
Right. and if it did require a shot,
The wildest
step
thing?
aside.
Man, we've gotten everything. I mean, from quilts to pillows to panties to
Oh, that's sexy. Quilts.
chocolates to. Yeah, I've gotten quilts.
Have you gotten quilts?
I've gotten quilts
No.
with my songs like written into it.
Oh, that's nice.
It's nice.
Yes. So would you get it for that on eBay?
No,
I'm kidding.
no,
I'm
no, no.
kidding.
No, it's actually awesome. It's actually very cool.
No, it
It's
is.
very cool.
There's nothing more lovely than when you're somebody who appreciates what you do
Yeah.
wants to give back to you in
Yeah.
some form or another. I get it.
The best thing, someone buys us a drink.
Yeah.
You know, on stage,
And
right?
you
When
tend
they
to have a
stand up
cocktail or two when you perform. Is that true?
Yeah. You know, I never drank until I moved to this city. I mean, I moved here when I was 21 years old.
Isn't it funny? Yeah. But what is it about Las Vegas that turns you into an alcoholic? Seriously.
It's.
It does.
Yeah, it's.
Well, not completely.
No, yeah. I mean, we started drinking, and then we started like just incorporating that into our show. And so many places would get so mad at us for drinking on stage, but at the same time they want to encourage their drink sales. So we're like, well, why can't I drink? I mean, I'm paying for. I got a 10-piece band now. We're all doing 5 or 6 shots. Relax.
Well, I'll tell you something. I'm no stranger to drinking. It got to the point that it was so bad for me, Frankie, that I shouldn't say this, but I was so known for drinking on stage to the point where station casinos had to cut me off and said, if you ever drink again,
Really?
you're fired. Because I
Wow.
became what they called a liability. And the problem was, if I just would stop falling into the drum set,
Yeah.
Because they figured the next time was going
That's
to
why
be
they
into
put
the
those
crowd.
plastic shields in front
Yes.
for
To
guys like
keep Zoe Bowie from falling into the drum. So
base planting into the snare drum.
well, luckily you haven't got to that point yet. And
The
close. We've
woman
had
who
some-
did the quilt is on, and she's crying for some reason.
Oh, I love the
what
quilt. I
happened.
really do. I love the quilt.
well, I'll tell you, I need to know before we go here, what do we got coming up? What's the big plans for you and your band and your record? And really quick, we just have a couple minutes
This-
because I want to finish on that note.
Tuesday nights is the place to be right now.
It sure
Tuesday
is.
nights,
It's
we
a
got,
hang, man.
Yeah,
It's cool.
Yeah, we got like all kinds of people coming. I think this week you're coming. Vinnie Paul's going to play some drums with us.
From Pantera.
From Pantera. Paul Shortino from Quiet Riot's going to sing with us a little bit.
Oh my God.
Carrot Top's coming in.
Really? That sounds like, oh my God.
It sounds like a Zoe Bowie show.
Well, you know, just on Friday night on stage, I had Vince Neil from Motley Crue,
Really?
Flava Flav,
Nice.
Gordy Brown doing his impressions.
Gordy is awesome. Gordy's
Talk
awesome.
about a Motley Crue.
Yeah.
So no, you go into a Frankie Moreno show. You're not only going to get you, but for the price of admission, you get big time celebrities coming
Yeah.
up there and performing with you.
Yeah,
in the
it's
crowd.
awesome.
It's just a big party.
It's just a part. And the Palms is a great environment for that. It's a casual vibe. We're doing that. We're doing next month every Thursday. We're September every Thursday. We're doing the Mandalay Bay.
Oh, nice. That's a great lounge. I love that. That's cool.
We're doing that just to we're just trying to get some practice in for this new show with the strings and all that. And then working on this record that is hoped to be released by the end of the year.
Well, like I said
I'm
earlier,
getting a buzz,
oh,
man.
dude, trust me, that's why I bring my driver with me, who is very lovely, sitting
Nice.
over in the corner. I couldn't be more proud to have you. I know the city
honored to be
is
here.
rooting for you. I wish you all the luck in the world, and when you
Thanks.
become big-time international star, I'll try to get you back on, and then you'll tell me no, and that'll be that.
You can do my show.
Oh, great. We'll do a PBS special.
Perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frankie Moreno, I couldn't be more happy to have you.
Thank you.
Once again, please email us anytime. It's simple. You just go to talktails@vegasvideonetwork.com. If you have any comments, and he's a thief.
Parting gift?
Check him out. He is the man. We will see you actually 2 weeks from now. I'm going to be performing live in Scottsdale next week, unfortunately, so I will not be able to be here. And I thought I'd mention that on air live. Thanks, Scott. I know you didn't know that.
I'll be filling in for Chris.
Yeah, our guest host. But anyway, thanks so much for watching Talktails. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Good night.